Welcome. Let's get right to it. By 2026, a single cyber event is statistically likely to cost a Nepali financial institution over $5 million. And that $5 million figure, it isn't just hyperbole. It's actually a pretty conservative estimate when you factor in the ransom, the recovery costs, the regulatory fines, and of course, the catastrophic loss of customer trust that always follows a major breach. So here's our agenda for this strategic briefing. We're going to start with the nature of this $5 million AI threat. Then we'll break down how a modern heist actually works, talk about the illusion of compliance, lay out the zero trust solution, and finally discuss why this has become a strategic imperative for leadership.
All right, so let's start with the threat itself. There's a new apex predator out there, and it's the AI-driven phishing attack. Honestly, it's changing the entire game.
And this is the most crucial point to understand. The biggest threat you face isn't some brute force hack trying to knock down your digital walls anymore. No, it's a super sophisticated AI-generated attack that targets your people, not just your systems. Relying on those old-school perimeter defenses today, it's like building the Maginot Line in an age of aircraft. It's a completely outdated strategy against these new psychological threats that target your key employees. So let's take a look at the anatomy of a modern heist to see exactly how these things unfold. To really get the risk, you have to dissect the weapon. And a modern attack isn't just a single event. It's a multi-stage masterpiece of social engineering, and it's all automated and scaled up for maximum impact. So here's how it starts. First, an AI builds a detailed profile of a specific target, let's say a mid-level manager in your treasury department, using publicly available data. Then comes the hook, a flawless, hyper-realistic phishing email. It perfectly mimics their superior's tone, and it's strategically sent at a moment of low cognitive resistance, like late on a Friday afternoon. That email directs the target to a login page that looks like a pixel-perfect replica of an internal portal. The manager, they're under pressure, they enter their credentials, and just like that, the attacker is inside, and they're going straight for the Holy Grail, the SWIFT system, which, as you know, handles all those international financial transactions. This is precisely where the illusion of compliance becomes so incredibly dangerous. See, here's the fatal flaw in how most institutions still think about security. They operate on this obsolete castle and moat model, where everything inside the network perimeter is automatically trusted. But in today's world, that perimeter has basically dissolved. And this is why treating regulatory guidelines, like the ones from Nepal Rest Your Bank, as just a simple checklist creates such a dangerous illusion of security. It leads to a critical, and I'd argue, a potentially fatal question. The answer, unfortunately, is a clear and simple no. Compliance is not security. A checklist can verify that you have a plan on paper, but it tells you absolutely nothing about its effectiveness against the sophisticated real-world attack. Okay, so given that the old models are clearly failing and the potential costs are just catastrophic, we obviously need a new approach. This brings us to the solution. And it isn't just a technical fix, it's a balance sheet imperative. It's called zero trust. So what's the strategic response then? Well, it's a fundamental shift in philosophy to what's known as a zero trust architecture. So unlike those old models that basically trust anyone once they're inside the network, zero trust works differently. It continuously verifies every single user, every device, and every request, no matter where it's coming from. This approach is what stops an attacker from moving laterally through your network, even if they do manage to steal that first set of credentials. The financial argument here is crystal clear. Look, implementing a real zero-trust architecture, it's a multi-year strategic initiative. For a large commercial bank, you're looking at an investment of around $2 million over 3 years. Now just compare that proactive, strategic investment against the alternative, a reactive, single-day loss that could be more than double that investment. This really isn't just a security upgrade we're talking about, it's a strategic imperative. The choice that's made before 2026 will quite literally define the future of financial institutions in Nepal. This escalating threat creates a clear and frankly an unavoidable choice for every single financial leader in Nepal. One path is inertia. It leads to crisis management, regulatory penalties, and a total reputational collapse. The other path, though, the path of leadership, that leads to a powerful competitive advantage. Robust security becomes a key reason high-value clients choose to do business with your institution. This is no longer just some IT issue that can be delegated down the chain of command. This is a fundamental business risk. It's as critical to the health of the bank as credit risk or liquidity risk. Ultimately, the choice to act now, to move beyond just checking boxes and toward a true zero-trust security posture, is the defining test of leadership for the coming years.